Hello, genealogists. This is Craig, and this is Just Genealogy. And this is the third in the series of what I do with a new county. And you can probably tell that when I'm dealing with a new county, I'm not really searching for people in the beginning. I may touch that county because all of a sudden I found a record that puts that person in that county, but to just go and rush into that research means that you're a hatch, match, and dispatch person, not necessarily a genealogist. In other words, you're just doing genealogy because you want to put all these people in context. And you want to know what records are available in order to learn more about that person now that some person has, in fact, touched a county. So we've talked about locating the county records book. We've talked about maps. What we haven't talked about is what is next in my scheme of things. In my scheme of things, the next thing that I do is if I don't know in my head what books I have on that county from Heritage Books and from other genealogical publishers that I carry, I'm going to go to heritagebooks.com and plug in that county, and I'm going to go look at that county and going to see what I have in the shelf within 50 feet of me, and then I'll take it from there. You all don't have that luxury, but I would greatly appreciate your going out to Heritage Books to see what we have. That said, and in fact, I'm going to do that whether you do it or not, the next thing that I do is go out to Family Search. So let's do that. So I try to go out to Family Search maybe once every couple of weeks just to see what's sitting out there. Are you part of a royal family tree? Of course I am, but if you click on that, it doesn't really lead you anywhere. That would allow you to associate your family tree on Family Search with the royal family that I can tell. And I also want to see what's there. Well, let's see. Anne Foster Scott, that second great-grandfather's sister, Mary Grandison Spurlock. These are all things I know. There's Florence Matilda Manning, whose middle name may be Maria, who married the Bealey. You remember her? And if I've talked about loyalists, there's Amasa Bigelow, who went from Massachusetts to Nova Scotia. There's a marriage record I've never seen before. I have seen that before. Then Martha Brockett Parkhurst and John Owen Scott. This is Anne Foster Scott Spurlock's brother. This is my ancestor. And I have talked about old settlers. Well, these two pictures came from the old settlers. So this is Dr. John Owen Scott, who came to the Effingham County, Illinois in 1828 and then dies in Effingham as one of the oldest people. But much older than him is Grandma Scott or Martha Brockett Parkhurst. Then I have to figure out who Sandra Neidholt is and what her relationship to me is. Here's that picture of him again, so that takes care of that. Coming up the backside. Ever wonder where you got your good looks? No. And then some names that I recognize. Gertrude Bealey is my great aunt. I knew her. Anyway, so I always do that every time I touch Family Search, and I think it's a good idea to do that just so you can see what you can see. But what we're interested in a new county is going to search and then going to catalog. And then in the catalog, we're going to type in the place. So we're going to do it United States. And then the state, Virginia. And then the county. In this case, the one we're talking about, the one we looked in the book before, was Highland County. Now, after I finish with Highland County, I am in fact going to go back and look at United States, Virginia for the statewide records, but recognize that for the most part, you probably already know what statewide records are available on Family Search. You might not know what Highland County records are available on Family Search. And at this point, I want any. I just don't want online or Family History Center. I want any because I don't care where they are. I just want to find out where they are. So when we look at Highland County, we see some records, not very many. We see inventories, registers, and catalogs, 7 books on cemeteries, or 7 things on cemeteries, the 1850 census, 1860 census. Well, we're going to look at those anyway for people in the county. So court records, genealogy, history, land and property I care about, probate records I care about, taxation I care about, vital records I care about. So we would look at each one of these to see whether we were going to be able to deal with them on family search or whether we were going to have to find the books. So we'll look at each one of these. You know, I usually open them all up so I can look at them all at once. And I pretty much know that there's a good chance that if I see the word circuit court or circuit superior court of law or chancery or district court, that those are likely going to be on microfilm and available from. Here are actually, it looks like 4 copies of the History of Highland County, Virginia. So I'd want to look and see where that book was from. And I'm going to look actually at all of these to see if they're available currently from a publisher, if I really wish to expand my library into that area. At least I know now there is a History of Highland County. And then there's that History of Highland County again. But there's a different book put out by the Highland County Historical Society, a new History of Highland County. Now, why it didn't make it into the Highland genealogy side is probably because there isn't much genealogy in the new History of Highland County. Allegheny Highlands. Let's see, land and property. So these are the general indexes to deeds and the personal property tax lists. And if you remember, Highland County was formed from that West Virginia county in 1847. So it looks like they've got a good run of deeds. Always like to see a specific map of Highland County. Know that it exists. Military records. Well, this is United States colored troops born in Augusta, Bath, Highland, and Roxbridge counties. And that's done by the Augusta County Genealogy Society. So you could probably get a copy of that article because it's more than likely in Fort Wayne at the Allen County Public Library in their periodical collection, if it in fact was published as a periodical. And then we have probate. So there's will book 1859, so it doesn't quite begin in 47. Tax lists. Pendleton County is the county that Highland came out of. And then there are the personal property tax lists from 47 to 50. Now, the personal property tax lists in Virginia only exist on microfilm to 1850. And then we'll see some other things here. And interestingly enough, Heritage Books has published a book on, I believe, Highland County deaths by Clay Hamilton, which isn't here. So that's interesting. Put that on your list, Craig. Anyway, so we see what kinds of things are available here in Highland County. And what I'm most interested in are these vital records. And notice that there is the Highland County Clerk. Let's just click on that for a moment. So this takes us to that place. And then we see that the marriage register is in fact available. So you just click on that camera. And there it is, the Register of Marriages for Highland County. So that's going to be helpful. And then if we go back to the list and we look at personal property tax lists, those are also got a camera next to them. And so we can look at personal property tax lists from the very beginning of the county. And then I care about, the next thing I'm going to care about after the tax list is deeds. So I'm going to look at the deed books and general index. And those two for Highland County have little cameras next to them, but those have a lock next to them, but they can only be seen at a family history center. So what's the workaround there? The workaround there is you find a family history center or an affiliate library. And even if they're not open, sometimes they keep their Wi-Fi open and you can do it from the parking lot. It just depends, but you need to find a family history center or an affiliate library that has the connection with the family history library in order to solve that problem. So basically, when you look at these, those that have cameras with a lock over the top of it means that you'll have to go to the family history center near you in order to access the digital images. So that's a shame, but that's workable. And then we see the history of Highland County, whether we're going to be able to find a copy. We should be able to find a copy of that. And there it is. View a digital version of this item. Click here. So that will take us to the history of Highland County. It's also available in book form. If it's in print, I'm not at the top of my head. I know I've sold it in the past. I don't know whether I have any copies right now. Highland County is actually not a county that very many people know about. It's got a very small population. But so here's the copy of the book as it's available. And you can also view inside. Sometimes you can download these kind of things, that kind of stuff. So we've got the history, we've got the probate. We want to go and look at one more thing, I think. I don't know. The order books, those see circuit court. So those, the question becomes whether they are going to be accessible or whether they are locked, and they are locked. So that means you're going to have to go to a family history center to get to those. However, I know that I'm going to be able to look at some of those chancery records for Highland County on the Library of Virginia website. And that is probably where we're going to go on Monday, is to the Library of Virginia website to see what they have on Highland County. So I think we've looked at pretty much, we haven't looked at any cemeteries. These are probably books. Let's click on one, and they may or may not be. So here, this is one that is in fact available. So you just need to check on those. But you need to know what church and those kind of things. And at this point, you probably don't know that kind of information. Although if you know what the denomination is that the individual belongs to, you may be able to get to those more quickly, especially if they're church cemeteries. So that gives me some idea about what I'll be able to find in Highland County on Family Search, what I can find directly on Family Search, what I have to go to a family history center for, and also there are a couple of books there, but it appears that those books are available on Family Search also, so I don't have to worry about it. So if you find that a book is in the Family History Library, but it's not available digitally, it probably means that it's still in copyright, and you'll have to go and find it somewhere else. And we will talk about that at some point in the future too, looking at a county from another perspective. And in fact, that perspective is mentioned on the Family Search website as OCLC WorldCat. And there also is Archive Grid. So those are two other options that we'll talk about at some point in the future. So my 2 steps for tonight are visit heritagebooks.com and visit the Family Search catalog. And you can print the stuff off from the Family Search catalog, So to help create your research plan, but this is an excellent place to start. I would not start with Ancestry. I would not start with Fold 3 if I was looking for a county. Once you see what Family Search has, then you can go to Ancestry, and then you go to Fold 3. Don't forget, Family Search is free. Ancestry and Fold 3 are subscription databases, so you'll have to pay for those unless you're in your local library that has a subscription. So this is Craig. This is Just Genealogy, and we've just gone through what my step 3 is for beginning research in a new county, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Book Sunday, and we do have new books. Not very many, but we have a few. At least I think we have a few. We have at least 2, so maybe not a few. Appreciate you all. Please subscribe if you haven't. We're over 500 now, so we're halfway there. Those of you that are joined us because of the Professional Management Conference, the APG Professional Management Conference, welcome. If you have questions, if you have things you want me to talk about, just put them in the comment section. Y'all have a good morning, afternoon, or night. Thank you so much.